Here's a strange story. A long-distance cycle race for an Australian Championship Cup was held before 10,000 spectators. The setting was lively and the contest close. James Somerville, who was a champion cyclist, was one of those in the race, and on the last lap of the race he made a wild spurt for the finishing post and gained a lead of nearly a length. Within 25 yards of the post, James was seen by the crowd to suddenly drop over the handlebars and his feet fall off the pedals, but the impetus he had took him past the finishing line to the excited cheering of the onlookers. James won the race by a few yards, but then he and his bicycle crashed to the ground. Two doctors were present among the crowd and went to the aid of the cyclist, only to find that he had died of heart failure, and that there was no doubt he had actually died the moment he was observed to slump over his handlebars. It was a lifeless body which crossed the line to win the race. This yarn is actually an urban myth. But unlike most urban myths, there was enough information provided to enable it to be traced back to the origin. The myth was originally published in April 1899, a Vancouver, Canada newspaper, citing mail from Australia as their source for the story. Whether it was a simple misinterpretation of the facts, or a nice example of yellow journalism spinning a sensational account, here was the genesis of the myth. It was republished in newspapers between 1901 and 1932 in largely the same form, sometimes with a few bits of extra information added or subtracted, as an incredible true story. What really happened is well chronicled. It was actually corrected at the time in 1899, but the story was just too good to let go of. James Somerville was a real person, one of four brothers who worked as a farmer on the family farm near Goulburn, New South Wales. At the time of his death, he was 25 and a half years old. James had become dedicated to cycling in the last few months of his life. Although not considered a champion, he had some success in his chosen sport. In 1898, he won 2 races at Braidwood and 1 at Cootamundra. 4 months before he died, he won a road race between Tarago and Goulburn. On the 19th of January 1899, at Sydney Cricket Ground, an electric light cycling carnival was held in the evening. During one of the races, Somerville's front wheel hit the rear wheel of another cyclist and tipped him off onto the track. He suffered a fractured skull and a brain injury from the fall. He was taken to hospital but never regained consciousness, passing away on the morning of the 23rd of January. James Somerville was buried at Goulburn Old General Cemetery. Meanwhile, the myth lived on in the dark corners of history.